Stop whatever you're doing and picture this. Dawn has barely glimmered over the Cairngorms, the heather is still dripping from last night's sleet, and a single line of text flashes across Balmoral's official feed, closed. Storm Floris incoming. Do not travel. Within minutes the Royal Estate switchboard is melting, tour buses are U-turning on the A93, and die-hard royalists who booked months in advance are stranded outside stone gates that usually swing wide for paying pilgrims. For a heartbeat, every camera lens trained on the Highlands is asking the same breath-caught question. If the weather is wild enough to fell ancient Scots pines, is it safe enough for a king in cancer treatment who chose this granite fortress to heal? The timing could not have been crueler. King Charles had arrived only 2 days before, eager to disappear into the estate that soothed his mother and grandmother, already photographed laughing in a tweed flat cap at the Braemar Games. He was counting on the hush of birch woods, the discreet burn of a peat fire, the old ritual of sketching wildflowers when the London static gets too loud. Instead, Storm Floris barreled out of the Atlantic with 90 miles per hour gusts, cracking branches like gunshots and lashing side roads with sheets of horizontal rain. Balmoral's lairds know their duty. One toppled fir could crush a visitor, one flash flood could strand a coach party, and the royal aura would fracture into lawsuits. So they slammed the gates, fired off refunds, and begged the public to stay away, for your safety, for our staff, for His Majesty's peace of mind. Cue the headlines: Balmoral in lockdown. Storm threatens King's retreat. Television choppers hovered, hungry for a shot of Charles' Land Rover skidding on gravel. But inside the castle walls, another tempest was brewing, digital, silent, and instantly global. Buckingham Palace issued its routine Monday press digest, a tidy summary meant to anchor the narrative. Yes, the castle is closed. Yes, refunds are swift. Yes, the king is resting. And look, here's a charming note about his appearance at the Braemar Highland Games. Simple, harmless, until eagle-eyed historians spotted a single hairline crack in the prose. The palace referred to the monarch's grandmother as the Queen Mother. To outsiders that may sound respectful. Inside royal protocol it's a tripwire, because Elizabeth Beauce-Lyon is always styled Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. Precision isn't pedantry when your institution's legitimacy rests on centuries of threaded titles, it's oxygen. Within 20 minutes the slip had ricocheted across royal watcher forums, screenshot by archivists, mocked by Republicans. One headline screeched, "Palace can't name its own icons." Another jeered, "If they forget Grandma, what else can't they remember?" Behind Buckingham's Portland stone facade, staff scrambled. Social media editors yanked the post, rewrote the line, re-uploaded the digest as though nothing had happened. No apology, no footnote, just a silent edit, the royal equivalent of rewinding tape and praying no one noticed. But in 2025 nothing vanishes. The cached version lit up comment sections, conspiracy accounts invented chasms of incompetence, and palace aides fielded panicked calls from courtiers convinced they'd be demoted to inventorying corgi collars. Why does a 3-word omission matter when trees are falling outside Balmoral's wrought iron gates? Because monarchy is theatre, and theatre lives or dies on flawless stagecraft. The late Queen drilled that lesson into every equerry. A dropped glove, a misbuttoned medal, a sloppy honorific all signal weakness. Charles inherited her perfectionism, yet chemo fatigue can fog even an iron memory. Critics pounced. Was the slip proof the new reign is understaffed, overstretched, relying on interns who can't tell a queen consort from a queen mother? Palace sources hiss back. The comms team is razor-honed. One errant keystroke doesn't rewrite history. Meanwhile, local businesses around Balmoral fumed. August is peak tourist gold. A single closure day can gut weekly turnover. Hoteliers scrambled to reroute guests to whiskey distilleries further inland. Cafe owners watched scones harden in display cases. Some muttered that the palace shouldn't shut the whole estate for a bit of bluster, forgetting these hills swallow SUVs when the river's overtop. Others sympathized, remembering how one misjudged gust felled a 200-year-old beech outside Birkhall last season. Nobody wants lawsuits soaked in royal stationery. Inside the castle, the king reportedly kept calm. Courtiers say he spent the storm in the library, sketching battered rhododendron branches twitching against Victorian glass. Queen Camilla read by the fire, dogs stretched like old rugs. They trust Highland stone, thick enough to shrug at Atlantic tantrums. But Charles' doctors fret more about worry than weather. Stress spikes cortisol, hinders recovery. Thus aides formed a human firewall. No headlines about collapsed gift shop awnings, no viral drone footage of debris swirling in the drive. Balmoral's website posted a sunny notice: "We look forward to welcoming visitors again shortly." Translation: once chainsaws clear fallen trunks and the king has slept, business resumes. Yet the Queen Mother typo refused to die. Late-night talk shows turned it into punchline: "Charles is trimming the monarchy, maybe they trimmed too much off her name." A viral meme photoshopped the castle closure sign to read, "Balmoral shut, blame the storm," formerly known as Mother. In the newsroom glare, Palace comms conceded they'd gifted Republicans a free swing. By midweek the storm pressure eased, Balmoral's gates creaked open, visitors returned, inhaling pine damp air like pilgrims. Guides in hunting tweed joked about bonus waterfall tours where swollen burns roared. The king ventured out for his traditional walk to the cairn, waterproof cape flapping, pointing out new saplings he'll have planted where florists toppled giants. Everyone exhaled until the next bulletin matters. Because September looms, and with it Charles' scheduled London checkups, a possible public outing at St. Paul's, and the annual shuffle of palace staff known as the Autumn Reshuffle. After this week's typo, tongues wag that a newbie press officer may find their desk relocated to the archive basement. Court gossip sniffs at two rival schools of comms, the never apologize veterans who prefer stealth edits, and the own the mistake millennials who argue a tweeted correction could have spiked rumors in hours instead of days. While they debate tone, the weather maps glow again: Storm Gabriel brewing off Iceland. Balmoral's foresters wince: another week, another barrage. The monarchy, brittle from mourning, transition, and chemo, braces for further gusts. Yet insiders insist the Queen Mother gaffe will be the last title lapse this season. They've printed cheat sheets, stuck them beside every newsroom terminal. Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, never abbreviate. A small reminder that in Royal Britain, one missing word can blow harder than Highland wind. So what lingers after the tempest? Visitors show up regardless, brandishing refunded tickets like trophies. Charles, sketchbook in hand, writes a note to himself: "Plant 12 birch where wind cleared path." And Buckingham's editing team, chastened, now reviews every release against 3 cross-checked style Bibles before hitting send. But the takeaway for the watching world is simpler: even the most choreographed monarchy can't script the weather or the occasional typo. What matters is how quickly they secure the gates, rewrite the line, and step back into pageantry unruffled. One gust, one glitch, countless headlines all absorbed into the Windsor myth machine by tea time. For now, Balmoral is open, refunds processed, titles corrected. Tomorrow, another cloud looms beyond Lochnagar, and another press notice waits in draft, begging the gods of protocol for mercy. Don't stray far, dear viewers. We'll have eyes on the next gust, the next line of text, the next heartbeat in this saga where nature and nomenclature conspire to test a century-old institution. Hit subscribe, keep the kettle ready, and we'll return the moment the wind shifts again, because in the Highlands and in palace paragraphs, suspense is always just one misplaced word away.